When Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare released in 2007, it was the start of my freshman year of high school. That is to say, my view of the world and engagement with it were extremely different than they are today. 2019's Modern Warfare, in many ways, has similarly metamorphosed, but in some crucial ways, stayed in the 9th grade. Despite compromising on its story, the campaign of Modern Warfare is easily one of the best in the franchise and my personal favorite. It is as epic as it is personal, and succeeds in creating characters to care about that navigate their way through a plot that doesn't get too big for its britches. The globally decimating conflict of the original trilogy is replaced with an important but quantifiable confrontation. This allows Call of Duty to hit harder than ever before, with some moments that will make your stomach turn. This is accentuated by the stunning engine revision that allows for some truly jaw-dropping graphics, as well as a meticulous attention to detail never before seen in the series. And whilst characters like Captain John Price make their welcome return, Infinity Ward saves a lot of the original trilogy's ingredients for future installments. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get a second Modern Warfare 2. I mentioned before that the story is compromised, despite its best efforts. That's because no matter how grey the moment-to-moment gets, the broad strokes of the campaign are painted in black and white. The Russians are undoubtedly evil, and despite some uncomfortable actions by the Western Coalition, they are the side of justice. The characters at the heart of the story, freedom fighter siblings Hadir and Farah, are easily the standouts, and you'll want to come to the conclusion of the game to see how their story ends more than the actual conflict at large. Ultimately, whilst Infinity Ward delivers on its promise to get the horrors of war across to the player, it fails to paint a complete picture of how these horrors transpire, creating a narratively cleaner campaign so that there can be heroes and there can be villains. On the multiplayer side of things, there's a lot going on. Let's first talk about Spec Ops, a mode that makes its return in lieu of another inclusion of zombies. Spec Ops takes place narratively after the main campaign, but don't worry, it's so loosely tied to the story that you can jump into it without worrying about spoilers if you haven't completed it yet. You and up to 3 other players, and trust me, you're going to want a full squad, tackle difficult missions in regurgitations of levels from the campaign. They are decidedly tough and require communication with your teammates. Even under optimal conditions, it's easy to find yourself overwhelmed and tactically outmaneuvered by the enemy, so make sure to go in with a clear mind and clever teammates. Competitive multiplayer features familiar game modes such as Team Deathmatch and Domination, but it's clear Infinity Ward put a big focus on redesigning their maps to make these well-tread experiences feel fresh. The locations are more natural, and by extension more treacherous to navigate. An injection of strategy is required to succeed, leading to a more satisfying result, if victorious. And whilst they may seem like small details, the addition of features such as opening and closing doors and mounting guns to edges change up the flow of gameplay greatly. The maps also allow for larger confrontations, realized in the new 32 on 32 mode Ground War. But the standout fresh experience is Gunfight, 2-on-2 gameplay that takes place on a bite-sized map. Every other round resets the shared loadout amongst players, and if both sides are still standing after 40 seconds, players must attempt to capture the flag that appears in the center of the map, with it being the first to 6 rounds. It's fast-paced and addicting, a smart execution of Last Man Standing. My interest in Call of Duty has waned in the last few years, despite having clocked more hours in the original Modern Warfare trilogy than nearly any other game. This year's reboot of the Modern Warfare series is a return to form for Infinity Ward, and I can only hope that future installments build upon its new status quo, shedding its Mountain Dew and Doritos promotional shell that it's made for itself in recent years, to make Call of Duty worth the damn again.